Hey, welcome back to This is Gravel here on Gravel Guru. On this episode, we hear from Neil about his expedition up to Pony Express Gravel Dash, his bike packing, and we also give away some lights and gooder glasses. Stay tuned for that and more. We're back in the studio. It is September, and the cool air is here in Emporia, Kansas.
It is, Matt. It feels so nice outside, and let me tell you, I can't wait to get on my bike and do some riding.
Yep. It's Tuesday. Show's probably coming out Wednesday, but we were both talking. This is the type of weather, this is the type of feeling that makes you want to get out. The days are getting shorter, though.
They are. Yeah, I've noticed that the sunshine is disappearing really early, and it's going to be rough, but I'm hoping to do a lot of winter riding, in part thanks to the fact that we have some good lights that we're.
I was going to say, we will prevail through the darkness, mainly thanks to our great friends at Light in Motion. And we are going to give away at the end of the episode, show you how you can register to get an awesome Viz Pro helmet light. We're going to give away one on Facebook, and we're also going to give away one to our group that signed up for the 12 Nights Under the Stars. How's bikepacking been going for you?
I got another night in here recently, Matt.
You did get another night in.
Yeah, I went up and did the Pony Express, did their overnight bike packing event, which was awesome. I mean, I'm not going to talk too much about it here, but at least right now at this point, but it was awesome. It was a fantastic time, and I will just say this, 10 out of 10, I'll be doing it again in 2022.
So, 12 Nights Under the Stars, we launched it back March, April time, a little later than we probably should have.
Yeah.
But for 2021... The thing is right now, this is the first day, like, I walked out this morning at 7:30 and went, man, this is bikepacking weather.
No, absolutely. In fact, the moment I feel like I can bike pack again, I will probably be getting some more nights.
I'm looking for some great sub-24s and maybe even kind of sub-12s. The 16, 18-hour rides, roll out late evening, come back next morning for work, hit up the local lakes and get out. I absolutely love cold mornings. There's nothing worse, and you're probably going to talk about this here later on, than sweating in a tent.
I actually avoided the sweating in the tent out there at Pony Express, specifically because I did not bring the rain fly. I know you and me were texting back and forth a little bit about that before the event. Because I didn't bring the rain fly, it let a lot of air flow through, and the wind did pick up about midway through the night, and there was actually a handful of us that didn't have rain flies, and didn't bring very heavy covers that actually got a little bit chilly, even on a 70-degree night. It was mind-blowing. Yeah. Because I wouldn't have thought that at all, and neither would have these other individuals. But
that's fair.
Fun times.
That's fair. And I guess since we're talking about it, we're going to have some great giveaways, so watch till the end of this episode.
Absolutely.
How you can get some giveaways. We got some gooder glasses from our friends over there. So, Viz Lights from Light in Motion. But you went up Pony Express. Kind of give us a general introduction and launch us into your video.
Yeah, so we got up there on Friday, which would have been September 10th, and we got to meet at the old depot and kind of take off from there, a different spot from where the riders on Saturday get to take off. Okay. And, it was great out the gate. The weather was perfect Friday morning, but we all knew heat was coming, and that threw just a crazy wrench into what was an insane first day. And honestly, if it wasn't for what took place during the second day...
no spoilers.
If it wasn't for what took place during the second day, the first day would have been by far the harder. Yeah. And actually, honestly, first day was maybe still by far the harder of the 2 days. Yeah. It was crazy, but they put out an excellent event. And honestly, the bike packing, to me, I had a blast getting to do it, breaking it up that way. It was awesome.
Okay. Well, take a look at this video Neil put together from Marysville, Kansas, and Pony Express.
Morning of Pony Express. It's 4:46. Coffee.
About 12 miles in this morning. It's a beautiful day. A little wind, but not bad. It'll help keep us cool as the day goes on. Just reminded that up here by Marysville, Kansas-Nebraska border, rolling hills all day. We are at the checkpoint. Just hanging out for a minute. Refilled bottle. And gonna get back on the road. You got it. Well, I made it to the top of what is Brewski Hill. I think it hits a 14% incline, they said. I can breathe, I think. It's okay. We are 55 miles in. Ugh. Starting to get a little warm. Stomach's not very happy with me. Probably partially because of the heat. It's all good. We got less than 20 miles to the lake, but pace has definitely dropped. A little wore out. It's all good. It's hot. It's hot. It got hot. Taking a little break, just sitting down. Found shade. A little shade. So I am just cooling off. Took the helmet off, took the cycling cap off. I am just letting some air hit me. It's only 12 miles to the lake. It's not that far, but the heat has hit me, and I hate the heat. I do. It has been a while since heat on a ride got me like that. In part probably due to the length of the ride. I haven't had a ride that long in the heat in a while. But the heat got me. Shower. It helped. But I'm still pretty cracked. Now is all about resting and recovering before
7:30 tomorrow morning. So we're 17 miles into day 2, riding with Peggy back there. It's going smooth. It's nice and cool to start off the day, and hopefully we can get in before it gets too hot. Well, that sucked. Went down, putting my water bottle back into the cage on the fork, and I stuck it between the wheel and the fork. Basically stuck it into the wheel. Just missed, just stupid. Went down. I've got a quite sizable gash in my arm. It's the arm I'm holding my phone with right now, so I can't show you, but I've wrapped it pretty tight in a t-shirt. It's not bleeding, it's not dripping, so I think that's all right. But the gash is definitely to the point that I will be going and getting stitches after this. It sucks. Under 2 miles left. I'm in a lot of pain on my right side. Every bump, every shift, every squeeze of the brake. Right hand's pretty chopped up too. Not stitch worthy, but definitely chopped up. Oh. That was unfortunate. I don't know if I hit a bump. I really don't know exactly what happened to make me put my water bottle where it did, because I've put my water bottles back there thousands of times and never once hit the wheel. I hurt, but got a mile and a half to finish. Woohoo!
Well, Neil, that looks like quite the experience. Before we get into breaking down the video, how are you doing?
Honestly, I'm getting better every day. I got the stitches out yesterday, which would have been Monday.
So this is about a week and a half?
Yeah, so had the stitches in 9-10 days. Got them out. The arm is scabbed over. It's still in the process of healing. I don't have full movement in it. I can bend it about almost 90 degrees right now. But that's just letting this all heal up, basically. Yeah. You know, I feel that tight pull of the scab. And
glad you're healing up. I got to ask, how's the bike?
Bike's fine. Actually took it into Gravel City. They looked at it. Nothing was damaged because of the wreck. Okay. I did just have some other maintenance that needed to get taken care of that had nothing to do with me hitting the ground at a pretty high rate of speed. But all good.
So Neil's okay. Bike's okay.
Correct.
Let's talk about your setup now.
Okay.
I know this is something when we were riding there before Pony Express, talked a lot about. I know that week before, I was getting lots of text messages about what do I take, what do I not take. What did you end up taking? I know you were trying to go lighter.
Yeah.
And break down, I guess maybe as we talk about supply, what was the 2 days like?
So I did go lighter, a whole lot lighter than what was normal. I didn't take a rain fly, for instance. The chances of rain were 0 throughout that entire time, and I knew that if it was going to be 70 degrees at night, I didn't want to sit inside of a tent that was holding any body heat inside, which I knew my body heat would be high from Friday because of the temperature, being up into the mid 90s. And so I said, I'm not taking the rain fly. I did not take a sleeping bag. Instead, I rolled up one of my son's twin-size bed sheets, a Batman sheet, and I rolled that up nice and small, put that in a compression sack. I mean, it was no bigger than basically the size of a baseball. It was a perfect size to be able to put in my bag. Had my pillow, had my sleeping pad, and that was basically the sleep setup. And so that was a lot lighter than normal, and all of that went in my gear jammer on the back of the bike.
Did your sleeping pad hold air this time?
Yes, I actually have bought a new sleeping pad since the last time that you and me
that was a while ago.
That was a while ago, back in June. And so I bought a new sleeping pad, held air, and I'll be honest with you, outside of getting, and I talked about this a little bit before the video, but outside of my feet getting a little bit cold in the middle of the night, just that breeze did come in. It did get a little cold in the tent, and so I brought a second pair of socks. That's the only thing that I bring a second pair of when it comes to first day, second day. I want fresh socks.
Other longtime Kansans can call me out for this, but the humidity is a killer in the sun in the day and also makes it cooler in the evening, too. Yeah. So that kind of dampness, that's probably the main reason I use a rain fly even in the summer was, that cool air can get you, and it's crazy if you've been out. What was it? Did it get to 100 degrees that day?
On Friday, it was mid-90s.
Okay.
Mid-90s.
So, you go from mid-90s and working hard to 70 is quite a bit cooler for your body there.
Yeah, so I threw the socks on about midway through the night, but other than that, I slept fantastic out at the lake. And
you talked about putting all your sleep setup in the gear jammer on the back, Hovea Negra. Shout out to their products there. On the back of the bike, what did you have on the handlebars? Because I know when I've gone in the past, and like what we did at Council Grove, my entire tent and sleep system is my front roll on the handlebars. So
instead of taking my big front roll like I usually take when we've done bikepacking trips this year, I said, you know what, I just don't need all of that. And so I have just a little front pouch from a guy out in Baltimore, P-Tap Designs.
Okay.
Put that there, and all that was there, honestly, was just snacks. Either gummies, waffles, syrups, things of that nature.
So your nutrition supplies, what did they have at Pony Express for you as food-wise? How much food did you need to carry to get you through this?
So I did not, honestly. I carried that, and I carried some Tailwind Mix, had that with me. That's all I carried, and actually ended up coming back with Tailwind Mix because on day 2, after that heat of day 1, nothing sounded good. So when I left the lake on day 2, I had 1 mix of Tailwind and 2 bottles of water and said, if I feel like I need some Tailwind throughout the day, I've got it here. I'll mix it in. But I just decided to hold off because that heat had just rotted me out, and the flavor of anything that was going inside of me wasn't really tasting good on the bike. So I didn't leave the lake with all of my bottles full of Tailwind because I wanted some water. I wanted to make sure I left that option available. But they had plenty for us. We got to our first checkpoint, which was 27 miles in. I talk about it in the video there. I kind of look at the camera and grimace a little because I'd only drank 1 bottle through that first 27 miles. We were just moving, and things were good, and it was a cool morning.
Okay.
And I put myself in a little hole, and I know I'm not the only one that put myself in that hole. Through those first 27 miles, but I got there. They had fluids for us. They had different nutritional mixes for us, handful of snacks. All I did was honestly just get water there, and then put a Tailwind Mix in there and got right back on the bike. I did not want to wait long because I knew that it was going to get hot, and I didn't want to delay my time between there and the lake any longer. It was 47 miles from that first checkpoint to the lake. And so I left there with 3 bottles, thinking that would be good. I didn't realize just, again, how hot it would get, and then also how much hillier it would get after that point.
Okay.
And so those 2 things really slowed down the pace.
So not just the miles, you had elevation, too, ahead of you.
Yeah. We had elevation early in those first 27, but it got a lot hillier after that.
And I saw that in your video when we watched it. There's, the roads kind of varying conditions, all sorts of types.
It was a huge chunk of, and I'll be honest with you, I've said this to some other folks, all the events I've done over the past 8 years of riding bikes throughout Kansas, Oklahoma, Missouri, Nebraska, this was probably, if it wasn't my favorite, it was top 2, top 3 favorite courses I've ever ridden. It had a great mix of hard pack gravel, some nice minimum maintenance roads. The minimum maintenance roads weren't, terrible ones that were just brutal.
Ones you're having to get off the bike.
Nothing ever they had to get off the bike. I did get off the bike for a little creek crossing because I'm riding by far the narrower tires than most folks out there. I'm on 38s where most folks are on 2 point, or bigger. And so I did get off down into the river crossing. It was very sandy. I could have rode across the river, but what I would have ended up doing is what most folks did when they crossed right there ahead of me, because there was a group about 6 of us together at that time. They all even had to get off because of the sand on the other side. But otherwise, everything was rideable. There, good mix of hills, but nothing that was just going to, destroy you. Even Brewski Hill, which is the one that they advertise kind of as the steepest one out there, about 15% grade. I was able to make it up that. With the bike loaded. And so I felt good out there, but it did get hillier, and I did need those fluids. And so getting a bottle of water from Mark Hoffman, race director, out there about mile, I want to say about 45, 46, was nice. But those miles from him to the lake, 28 miles or so, were just awful. That's when the heat just got turned up notches. That's when nothing felt good inside of the stomach. And that was when all of a sudden I'm taking breaks on the side of the road at a much more frequent rate.
Was there much shade up there in that part?
No. Actually, there's a point there in the video. A friend Rick is doing some filming up there too, and so he filmed, and I'm rolling up to him, and that was the first spot of shade that I saw probably in about 7 or 8 miles. And he was sitting underneath it, and I think there was another person that had just rolled off that was sitting there with him. And I'm like, I am taking a break here.
I started off this question by asking you about your gear and setup. Yeah. You went lighter. Mm-hmm. Did you feel like you had everything you needed? Was there anything you wish you would have taken?
Yeah, no, I think honestly I had everything I needed. And again, I think, like I've learned, I had way too much even. I brought donut holes as I thought would have for breakfast, on Saturday morning, and I didn't eat them. And so donut holes kind of got hot, got nasty, got thrown away.
Yeah.
There's a lot of just odds. I think most of what I brought for the most part I used. I had maybe a little bit extra nutrition.
Yeah.
Just because I wasn't exactly sure what I would have at checkpoints, aid stations. So I did bring a little bit more, but they had us fully stocked. They fed us well when we got to the lake. For the 14 of us that made it to the lake, we had, I think, 60 hamburgers between all of us to eat. So we had more than enough food that we could eat. They provided chips, drinks, everything. I mean, when I roll in, the first thing, get an ice-cold Coke, and that just tasted so good. Had an ice-cold water right afterwards. They had some electrolyte tabs, just a lot of things that helped the body recover. And then on that second day, we had a checkpoint at mile 30, which I know a lot of people probably rode past, but Pirate Cycling League guys were there and couldn't help but to stop by and hang out with them for a few minutes before I went and crashed my bike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're saying, is Jason and Corey, the high point of the day for you on Saturday?
I rode with a friend, Peggy. We had a blast for those 30 or so miles we rode with each other, and I stopped to hang out with Corey and Jason and just had a good time. I mean, I was there probably no more than maybe 5 minutes, but just told them I would come by and see them and visit with them because they knew that they would be there. And so just stopped really quick. Didn't even get any fuel or anything. Didn't get any water, any fluids. Didn't get a Coke. I just wanted to come say hi, and so stopped and got to say hi with.
I saw that on your Instagram story, stopped by, and then crazy thing is I didn't see anything on your Instagram story there for a while after that. So it's always great, though, to see race promoters helping other race promoters do that. So I think that is part of the spirit of gravel and
it was awesome.
Helping out there. So great to see the Gravel Worlds folks down there. So then you wrecked your bike.
Yeah, honestly, just a freakish thing. I really don't have another. I really can't think of exactly how or why what happened. As I was saying, for the first 30 miles, I rode with a friend, Peggy. I told her to ride ahead. I'd honestly felt good. I was just loving getting to hang out, chat. It's part of what you and me like about the bikepacking thing is you don't have to ride fast. And I didn't want to ride fast that second day. I just wanted to sit back, relax, have a good time. So that's what me and Peggy did for those first 30 miles. It's what I wanted to do, stop and talk to the Gravel Worlds guys. And I told her, I said, look, I'm feeling good enough. I'll chase you down here at some point, and we'll come in, finish, it all together. And so I'd been chasing her down, and probably wasn't more than 500 feet behind her when I was in a little bit of a thick, chunky gravel section and had took a sip of water from my bottle and went to put it back in that cage in the fork. And I don't know if it was the loose gravel kind of moving the wheel back and forth, moving my arm back and forth, a combination, or if I just straight missed. That's the water bottle cage I always put my water bottles back to. I rotate every one primarily to that front right one, and have done that for the past 4+ years of riding that bike, and somehow just missed, put it into the wheel, and it got jammed between the wheel and the fork. And I went from, according to my Strava, 19.7 miles an hour to the next registered speed was me skidding on the ground at like 6.5 and then 0.
Oh.
Yeah, all like that.
Man, I'm sure it's one of those things that no matter what you did, it's not preventable. Sometimes things just happen. Your number comes up. So.
Again, it was freakish. I can't think of anything happened other than the fact just probably the thick gravel section that it was in. It was very chunky.
I'm going to knock on wood and say this, but you and I put a lot of miles in together over the years. Have either of us ever gone down?
No, not riding together. I've only had one other crash in the 8 years of riding.
Yeah, I was going to say, it really, people joke about falling over on your bike, but we all ride enough that it doesn't really happen unless you get tangled up or...
I can see it at a race. Sometimes people bump.
Yeah.
I've seen that happen, before on races or, really hard, no drop rides where people are really kind of going at it. But, I've never had an instance like that.
Yeah. To be clear, I've never really gone at it. So
but it was very freakish. I have no other explanation for it than that. It's not like I don't know how to put my water bottle back in my cage. Again, I've put that water bottle back in that cage over the past 4 years, probably 5,000, 6,000 times, and it's almost just a robotic movement to put it right back in there.
That's quite a number there to come up with.
I tried to think about how many miles I ride versus how frequently I take a sip of fluids, and so I actually did think about
the formula for that?
Okay, so I take a sip of fluids probably somewhere around every 3 to 4 miles, and I based that upon the fact that over the past 4 years I've probably ridden about 16,000 miles. So, I figured somewhere in that area.
I did not expect you to.
Dude, I've had a lot to think about.
I did not expect you to have an answer to that.
And actually, I thought about that. If you want me to be real with you, I thought about that in the 10 miles from the wreck to the finish line because I was trying to make sure that my brain was working because at that point I did not know if I'd hit my head or not. After I got up, the first thing I did was check to make sure the fingers were working. Wrist, bend the elbow, all that kind of stuff, shoulder, neck. Everything was functioning. I never once actually looked at my helmet, thought about, hey, did I hit my head? So instead what I did for those 10 miles back was just kept my brain functioning and working and thinking about different things to make sure that it was working. It wasn't until after I got back from the ER that I looked at the helmet and realized I didn't have a single scratch on it.
Good.
Yeah. Didn't even hit my head.
Maybe episode 603 or 602 this year, we talked about first aid kits on the bike as one of the Q&A questions. And we both pretty much admitted that we didn't have much as a first aid kit on the bike. After your wreck here, bikepacking, is there anything you would add to your bike? Honestly, that can be a no, that can be a yes.
Probably not. I'm just gonna be real.
Yeah.
Maybe I should think about that. I don't think there would have been a whole lot that I would have had on me at that point that would have made the situation any better outside of bringing like a full, medical triage type. Just what I ended up doing. I had very little water left in one bottle. So what happened is the water bottle that I was using was my second full big water bottle of the day, and I again put it in there. Well, the spokes literally sliced through my water bottle. In fact, it is cut through at the bottom. It does not hold water anymore, and so all of my water went out onto the gravel right there. The other bottle had just enough water left in it, kind of at the bottom. Sometimes you just can't get all of it quite out. That's what I used to clean the wound out. So I just poured that on back of my arm here, just kind of flush it out. And then I took my Tailwind t-shirt that I had wore sleeping and at the campsite the night before and wrapped that around and tied it on as tight as I could to kind of make sure that bleeding was stopped and that I wasn't getting any more dirt in there than I had already got in there at that point. But Band-Aids aren't going to take care of that. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Neosporin isn't going to.
I just remember we had that conversation on one of the shows about it, that
Band-Aids wouldn't have taken care of anything. It wouldn't have taken care of the road rash I have down my complete right side. Again, I'm not going to slap a Band-Aid on any of that stuff. It was just, it wouldn't have done anything.
Okay.
And so I don't really know, outside of carrying something to wrap your arm with.
Yeah, I was going to say, if it was bad enough,
I would have taken my jersey off. I would have taken a sock off if I didn't have anything else, ultimately. And that's why I was sitting there on the side of the road. I said, what can I wrap myself with? And I'm like, I've got a shirt in the back bag that I wore last night. Grabbed it out. Wasn't even a thought. Tied it on there. And,
so, you made it back to the finish line.
Yeah, rode the last 10 miles in.
Do I see something shiny next to you?
Yeah, so they had this award that they started this year. The guy that runs the race and Paul, who originally started the race, came up with the idea to do the Pony Express Gravel Dash Bikepacking Todd Fry True Grit Award. And it's named after Todd Fry, a guy who did the bikepacking event last year, and when he got to the lake realized he didn't have his tent. So instead of snuggling with another rider inside of their tent or many other options, he just slept in his sleeping bag in the ditch, and then hopped on the bike and finished the event the Saturday morning. And so they decided to come up with this idea to do this for the bikepacking group. And
since you bled on the road, you got it.
And since I fell down and beat myself up and rode an extra 10 miles after that in.
Yeah.
Well,
fair enough. Despite wrecking, sounds like a great event.
Dude, I told Mark right away. I said, I'll be back. 2022, definitely back. Me falling had nothing to do with the route, had nothing to do with the race. It was just a freakish thing on my part, And but I had a blast up there. The route was fantastic. I think they did a great job of taking care of the riders throughout the entire thing for the bikepacking side. And
we've always heard great things about Pony Express. They always tag us in content. I mean, I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it one of these years up there.
And I feel bad. I mean, this is only my second time that I've been able to be up there. Last time I was up there was in 2015, and it was crazy because I kept sharing this with folks. That weekend is. In 2015, when I went up there, it was actually freezing cold that morning. Mm-hmm. I mean, we didn't have 90 degrees.
Yeah.
And it's the same time, second weekend of September.
Fall.
Exactly, fall in Kansas. But it was freezing cold, and I was riding the 75-miler, and about 10 miles in that morning, I took a sip out of my bottle, and I tend
Put it
to
back
just
in the cage?
Eventually. But I tend to, just take my bottles and kind of whack them on my leg to close them and then put them back in the water bottle cage. And I whacked it on my leg that day, and it shattered the lid of my water bottle. And so I'd only take 2 water bottles because I was doing the 75. They had 2 resupplies. And instead of having 2 bottles to ride that now with, I only had 1 bottle that didn't have a shattered top. And so it's a time of year where you don't know what you're going to get in Kansas. You could get close to 100 degrees like they had on Saturday, or you could get it being so cold that you start off the day with a busted water bottle because it shatters because it's so cold. So.
Yeah, it's just crazy. Never know what to get. Do you know what would cheer me up, though?
What?
Giving away some cool stuff.
Absolutely, man. We've got a lot of fun stuff to give away.
We have some awesome products to give away from our good friends at Light in Motion, the Viz Pro Helmet Light. You've got some awesome shades.
Yeah, we got some Gooders over here, too. Gooder also partnered up with us to give away some sweet shades to those folks that are doing the bikepacking stuff.
So what I'm thinking here is the day this goes out, September 22nd, what is that, Neil?
That would be a Wednesday.
The first day of fall.
First day of fall, yeah.
So what we want you to do is I'm going to put a post up also that says light giveaway. Post your favorite bikepacking photo of the year. For the lights, I want to see you bikepacking. Same thing with the Gooders, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
We're going to give away a pair of Gooders. We're going to give away a light on Facebook to the general Gravel Guru followers. We're also going to go into the group of everybody that signed up earlier this year, and they're going to have a chance to win one as well there. That's probably a lot better odds to that group in there that signed up. Several hundred in there, I think, is our last count.
Yeah, I got a pretty big group on the Facebook group, so they got a chance to win a light there, and I know we've already given a couple folks ones this year. But
so, anyways, be looking for that post this week. Get on there, and I'm going to draw probably into the day Friday for those. Neil and I will work on that, get them figured out. We'll get them sorted out. Lots of events still happening this time of year. Fall, I think we kind of we have that slumber after Unbound, that heat of Kansas, the Midwest, but now we're kind of hitting the fall head on.
Yeah, and I'm not going to lie, I can't wait to hop back on the bike. My hope is to try to hop on a night and do, some just gingerly paced, relaxed kind of miles. To the legs and everything feel fine. I've got scabs, but bruising, everything's good. I'm healed up, full movement on my legs. So my hope is to try to see how I feel.
You're going to do good.
I'm sure.
You'll still be able to outride me. So, anyways, be on the lookout for giveaways. We're super glad and super happy that the companies are willing to work with us and help us give these away. Gooder, Light in Motion, brands we love. We both used them before they were partners with the show.
Absolutely.
So, great quality products. Glad you're healed up, Neil. Glad you had a great time up at Pony Express despite getting stitches and everything else.
Yeah, had a good time. Like I say, can't wait to do it again, to be honest with you.
I think we're ready to get out bikepacking here before long. Enjoy the fall air, and we'll see you on the next episode of Gravel Guru.